What's up, YouTube? What's up, Minzy Gang? Welcome back. We are back so soon already with the ice cream choreography, which I'm so excited about. We've got the studio Choom and then the dance practice. I am so glad they released the dance practice so quickly this time. If you remember, I had to wait almost like 2 weeks for tunnel vision last time for them to release a dance practice before I could watch any of the choreography and react to it. I was dying waiting that long. So happy we've got the ice cream choreo right away. Thank you, JYP. But yeah, I'm obsessed with this song. You guys already know this. It definitely did end up being my favorite on the album. I have already streamed it. I'm recording this about 48 hours from the first time I listened to it. I've already listened to it 111 times. So let's get 112 and 113 here. Oh, starting off with the isolations. And she's the queen of the low-waisted jeans. Oh. It's so bouncy and fun. I love this part. Again with the back flexibility. Oh! Slay! Yes! Synchronization there, at that angle especially, so satisfying. We got all the hip choreo here, which is obviously so perfect for Yuna. This part is so fun. Fierce. So fierce. Okay, ending fairy. We don't even really get that much of an ending fairy here. What the heck? But we need to talk about how perfect the outfit and the makeup is. Okay, there we go. Like, I love that they went simple for this because it's just like you got there's like that callback with the bright pink and the low-waisted jeans to the You Go Girl viral stage. The moment, the Yuna moment. So I love that. The bright colors go perfectly with the song. Like I said, she's the queen of low-waisted jeans. And then with the super hippie choreo, it really emphasizes that too. And then I love how the background dancers, like, they have the more simple outfits, but then they got the bright pink belts to still match. But like the exact pink, same as the lipstick. You got that little bit of extra blush too to match. This just like the minimal silver accessories, but just add a little bit of shininess is perfection. She looks so good. Like, Like I said, it's simple styling because she doesn't need that much more to shine. She just is the visual. And then I also liked that they had the little like keychain hanging off the side of the jeans, off her pocket or the belt loop or whatever. Just adds a little bit of extra motion with all the hip movements. But yeah, this choreo, I think it's really good for a solo debut choreo, especially like for Yuna. She's not used to being a main vocalist and singing for a whole song. So it's not like the most intricate, it's not like super high energy, but it really fits her style. It's very feminine, it's very flirty, it's very bouncy. Like I said, lots of hip movements because she's the queen of hips. It's gonna be a lot of fun for me to learn because I also really love hip movements. But yeah, it's not like the most technically complicated because she needs to be singing the whole time. But the background dancers really help add a lot too. All of the arm positions and the hand positions that they do, it directs that focus onto Yuna, even if there's moments where like it's a extra more vocal movement moment, so she's not moving as much. But then the background dancers will really accentuate her during those moments. And then that little bit of floor choreo, yes. But let's go into this with the fixed angle on the dance practice so that we can really see the whole view. We have a blue practice room today. And like I said, starting off with the isolations, that's really fun. And it goes perfectly with the song. Yeah, just so satisfying. Synchronization is great. That nice neck isolation, the nod, the tilt, the head turn. And Yuna is just such a great performer that even with a simple choreography, she draws you in so much. She shines so much. Like the thing about Yuna that I think is really interesting is I think she's actually a better performer than she is like technically in dance. I think that can happen often when you get someone that debuts really young, unless you're like Taemin or something, because they're starting performing just like right away. And so they can build up that skill so much, whereas they're not probably not like focusing quite as much as technique as someone who trained for like 5, 6, 10 years before debuting, where that focus is much more technique based with all the hours they put in, versus debuting early. She was 15. She's performing right away. And she's still a great dancer technically, but she's definitely like, in terms of technical base, like she's a little bit outside of the ITZY dance line, but you never notice it almost at all when they're performing unless we slow down to like those frame by frame shots that we do sometimes with our ITZY analyses. But in real time, you never notice it because she's just such a great performer. So I just think that's interesting about her specific like dance technique and prowess. And then, like I said, the background dancers with the hand movements, that wrist bent like this, it directs your attention. Sorry. But that wrist bent back like this, it directs the attention. It kind of like your eye hits it and then it bounces back to the center, right? So you hit the end of these hands and then your focus gets directed back to Yuna right in the center. And then love the different shapes that we have going on, these silhouettes here, all the different levels that we have is really nice. This arm here creating that nice pathway for the eye to lead you right to Yuna in the center once again. And then I always love a little scoop kick like this, where you kind of hit that ground with your heel and then scoop it up. She's actually, yeah. So I've talked a few times, noticing her flexibility in the music video and a couple times in the studio Choom. You can actually see she's got some hyperextension in her knee here. Look at that. She hits full extension, and you can see it's not just straight. It's got that little bit of extra too. So that's crazy. But I like the scoop kick. It's extra satisfying. Uses up that silhouette, that space kicking to the side. And then come around, a little bounce, a little bounce. Oh. And then like you have these bounces in place, and then boom, you hit this powerful arm position, opens up the chest, gives that confident, powerful vibe, and then boom, we hit that cross with that crossed shin moment, that cross kick. And again, you see her flexibility here. She nearly gets to horizontal with that shin. And notice her hips while she's doing that. Her hips still stay, like her pelvis still stays about horizontal instead of like tilting either way. Because you can tilt it and then in turn get some extra movement of that heel up if you wanted. But having them parallel to each other, obviously it helps with your stability and your balance, but it just really shows that this is just all mobility and all flexibility and being able to turn that leg, that hip in that much. And it's always just an extra dramatic movement with the hair flip too. And then back into another bouncy movement. Again, the contrast in more stationary movements versus ones that are big and really change up the silhouette. So satisfying with the in-sync steps. And then again, great use of the background dancers because this is just like, it's just simple. We're just walking, but the different hand positions, they create so many different levels, so many different angles. They're all strategically placed to make sure like there's the perfect amount of variation in the levels of the hands. They're all in the right specific places to see the switch up from here to here, two drastically different silhouettes because we're using all those pieces of space around us. See, this part, like, it kind of doesn't do a lot for me. Just the fact that it's all like very stationary, and because like our movements are mostly in front of us, you're not getting that big of a change in a silhouette versus like movements that come to the side. Like you can really see those changing angles and those changing shapes. Whereas here, you're not getting a ton of that. They do a good job in that like with the arm motions, they're making them big and coming like really coming around. Like this here, like that really helps change up the shape. But for like the most part with these, it's just like we're just kind of bouncing in place. So it's a little bit stagnant there. The classic Yuna hair flip. But yeah, this chorus, this intro into the chorus, super fun. Now we've got those bigger angles. Look at that. And then just really focus on the hips there. She draws you in and like really takes her time with this movement. And then we come into the sharper ones again, get a little hair flip there. And then this is really nice, like coming from a movement where we're stuck in the center, and then bring it all the way up and out and get that leg to come up in the back too. So using all of this space up on this corner and all the space over on this corner too. And then bring it back. Got that powerful arm position again into the body roll, and then bounce with the hips a little bit with a little bit of jazz hand shimmer moment there. And then I just think this part is very satisfying. Again, it's still simple, but it works super well. She really sinks into that hip, gets that full like change in position from coming to that up position to that down position. But then here, and then switch it around, and then just this slower and then fast. And it just like, it makes you notice that extra beat there that you probably wouldn't really like register quite as much without the movement. But I always like those instances where there's a movement in a choreography that makes a certain part of the instrumental stand out more. but that just like it, you really like start to hear that music more, that like that little beat right in between, because of that movement. And then this is super nice. That bring that knee up, a little elegant moment with the brush, and then also having some of the background dancers do this lean. So again, like uses those levels, creates a really nice picture, and also kind of mirrors the angle of that leg, that bend in the leg. This part is my favorite in the chorus right here. So we've got this moment, slow it down, melt into that movement. Again, similar to that first movement with the hips, letting herself sit into that movement and give it its full moment. And then something quick, and then boom, bring this up and snap it back down, using all of that space, all of that silhouette, and just the snappiness of it is just so satisfying, and it's a nice contrast from the slower movements that we had before. And then with these steps, each one of them, she gets a little bit higher so that when she gets into this position, she can sit back into those hips again. The synchronized clap. Oh, so satisfying. And I like that, like, she doesn't do the clap, but everyone else does. It focuses the attention on her. See these angles? That draws all that attention right to her in the center. And then she gets the moment of the really big and dramatic finger positions. And it's very hypnotizing and mesmerizing to have like that motion and have those open hand positions. And I just love this. Like a little line moment and then a little back bend. And then they kind of lock in this position right here. Like they do this body roll into this back bend, and then you lock with a little bit of bend in the leg and put all that weight on the back leg so that they can hit this. Ooh, so in sync, so nice. Boom. But like again, it's that contrast of flowier, slower, wavier movement, and then boom, boom. And then love the little hip hops there too. And then having that arm up to give some extra silhouette, because if it was just at the side here, then like it'd be a pretty boring silhouette to look at. But you've got this interest with the arm up here, and then you can just really focus on that hip and then pop it back up. Love this. Love the positioning too of the dancers, how they make sure you get that nice diagonal line leading right into Yuna. Like I said, that back bend, you can't see the position here quite as well as we could in the studio Choom, but she's got great back flexibility. And then like the hair just like flowing down is also, it just adds some extra. See, this is why I'm a long hair proponent. Always long hair. Oh. And then that drop is so unexpected. And then this formation change is great. Like super quick, super smooth, really spread out that formation. And then boom, this drop with the legs all the way opened is just so dramatic. Like this silhouette, these angles, this negative space. So unexpected, so much impact, so fierce. And then you get the hair flip too. Slide it around. Again, a little bit of bounce on the floor too. I love it. Like having that close together position, splitting it apart, and then before you can even start to think about anything, they drop. And then love that little domino with the arms too. Oh, I can feel the knees on this. This is tough on the knees. Like you kind of have to like hop up, get a little power through that to switch this into this position, and then that's just your knees going right into the floor, and it hurts. Like even just like being just like kneeling at all on your knees on a dance floor, a music stage floor. Like, it's painful, but it's worth it for the drama. But this transition is really nice. It's so smooth, and then it really switches up the angle and the direction very quickly and very smoothly. Like, so first it's like, okay, so it's like, right, like we move the legs out, and then we bring the legs back in, and then the whole rest of the energy switches to the other side too. So just a lot of those direction changes, using each piece of the space. And then the way they bring it back up is really nice, having the dancers with the arms up, and then their arms come down as Yuna comes up. So then it makes that movement feel even bigger because you have the opposing directions happen at the same time. Love this chest isolation here. This whole sequence here, I really, really like. Yeah, that whole like 5-10 seconds right there, it flows really, really well. Like, we hit the bouncy part. Again, the opposing arm positions with the different angles. These background dancers really add a lot to this performance. And then bring it up right on the beat. But the arm, like having the legs hitting the beat while the arms continue to flow and move is what makes it so satisfying. See, she hits the beat again there with the legs and kind of bounces into position, but the arms keep moving. And then those chest circles, yes, girl. That passe position. And then walk the dog. Yeah, that part is probably like my least favorite part of the song. It doesn't really click for me. It doesn't feel like it goes with the flow either. Like these arm positions, it like doesn't feel like it goes with the flow of the song at that point. I don't know. That's kind of just me, but that's my thoughts on it first watch anyway. Once I learn it, it might hit better for me. It usually does, but. And then love this here, like a moment just like in the center position, not a ton of movement, just that little circle. And then boom, hips popped all the way over, look away from the camera. Always a drama moment when there's a look away because it doesn't happen too often. And then arms up and crossed, dramatic, fun. And then that contrast with this movement again too. I think that's the perfect intro to the chorus. And this is what I didn't notice in the challenge when I learned it, was these little bounces here. They're very subtle, but it adds a lot, like being on the lyrics. It's a little fun. I always like the little bounces like that. Stacy has a similar thing in their I Want It choreography, and it's so much fun to do. But yeah, I hadn't noticed those the first time. But when you got the foot sounds in with it, it definitely makes it more noticeable. And I like here that like she really takes the time to have sharp and defined start and finish positions to each of her movements. And like there's like this brief pause where she's in this position here, and then she hits this fast movement up and lets her head get into it here. And that's what's really adding a lot for me, is that she really brings that head into it. So you get that full motion, that full extension, letting the movement ripple through every single joint and every single part of the body. And it makes it feel so much more complete. And then this part again where the dancers are adding a lot so that she can mostly be in the same position here, focusing on the singing, because you hit this 4 times. So then having them have the arms up for the last 2, it adds some contrast, just so it's not so redundant. So satisfying. Again, it's simple, but it's perfect for this song. The hip movements, the bouncy, flirty quality to it, it's perfect. And like with the kind of, like with the quality of the vocals there, it's all like kind of in that same tone throughout. So having all this part, like their shoulders and hips are kind of staying at the same level here. It makes sense with the vocals being at the same tone, right? So that music, the quality of the music matching the quality of the choreo. But it's like we're at the same level, but we still got all these angles, the wrists, the elbows, space used there, the negative space in the hips, and then the hip movements also. So even though it's at the same level, it's not boring. And then love that little hit too. But again, that hit is nice, uses that space over here that gets neglected for a second, so makes it extra dramatic. And then this here, like the movement's kind of going like on that tempo, and then something that changes it up, gives you a little moment to slow down and live in a movement for a second, and then boom, snap it back down, bring it back up, and then hit this extra dramatic position. You got the arms up and you hit that sideways leg position. Super impactful. So then it works perfectly, bringing it back into this lower position where the arms are down and we're focusing on the hips. But like, see how dramatic that is, because the arms don't go up for quite some time until then. So then that hits just extra hard because we haven't used that space in a while. So it's like, dang. Oh. Love this body roll here. Like, she just sits into it so well. She rolls through it so well. Like I said, that's her performer. Again, this was a part that flows really well. I like how they keep the arms in very tight on this kind of roll here, because if you get loose with those, they can look messy, but when it's in and it's tight and it goes right with the music, it's very satisfying. Again, love the little chest isolation to turn her around. But like having this roll movement and then snap back down with the look away too. Extra dramatic, hitting that side profile, so the smallest your profile can be, and then a little bit of this, a little bit of that, just these flowy shoulder dips and movements, but like having them be facing the side first and then come out and face you with the legs apart. You get that negative space, their profile opens wide again. So even though she's still like kind of doing like that same movement with the shoulders, it still has that dramatic impact when they switch directions, because it's going from that side profile position to a wide front profile position. And then notice, like, even though we had a movement where the arms went up, like great use of the different arm positions here, the hip angles, lots of different silhouettes going on. But every time the arms went up, they were together. They were right in the center. Like a lot of these movements have been very central in their positioning, right? The arms are staying close to the body, close to the chest, all in that center line. But we get a little bit more silhouette with the lower body, which is good. And look how in sync that is. But all of that allows for this moment right here to really, really hit, because we have not had, like I said, everything's been on that center line. So then, boom, using this side line and then also having the really high knee position. Like, see, she comes, it's not just a passe, but it's coming all the way up as close as she can get her heel to her hip. So there's that very horizontal line with the knee. And see, she does a good job. Notice the difference between her and then this dancer here. Even though the foot that's on the ground, the toe is facing you, so her, like, she's angled towards the screen, but she turns her hips so that the knee comes sideways, so you get that change in the silhouette and in the angle and that parallel line with the arm. Whereas this dancer, she, like, they have the same foot position, but she's not turning her hips, so the knee is just coming forward. And notice how much less impact this position has than the one that Yuna's in. Oh, love this. See, another instance where the background dancers, like, just really add so much in drawing that attention to Yuna, pulling that energy in, bringing your gaze to her. That open hand, like, it surprises you. It brings your eye out to their hands, but then they bring it into the fist and they pull it in, and it draws you right back to Yuna as she leans back there. And then another part, like, similar to the beginning, where we have the like sharper, you know what I'm talking about. It's like the instrumental comes down, the beats are more sharp, so you got more sharp movements and isolations here, and it's a fun way to, again, contrast with ending with this flowy and slower movement. Oh, so satisfying. But, like, moment in the center, hold it for a beat, and then boom, bring it out. So we come from that center, just standing, feet together, arms together, silhouette, boom, open up those legs, open up those arms, dramatic, and then, like, all of the angles also, like, matching up with the way that the formation is. Like, you've got the diagonal lines in the arms, the diagonal lines in the legs, so it matches that V formation. Get the hips in there. And then, like, having the fingers like this, it adds that extra little bit of flair compared to something like this, where it feels like, this feels like a salute. This feels like we're going to the military. But having, like, this, like, it adds, like, a little touch of femininity, of flair. And then this kick, so satisfying. Like, love this as they switch to a side profile. First, all of the dancers do it. Again, there's those open hands. Brings your attention right to Yuna in the center. But first, they're all the ones that turn to the side profile first. So that brings your attention onto Yuna because they're all turned toward the center. And then she hits the side profile. So your attention's already on her when they all hit that side profile. So you never get distracted from her because they've directed your attention right where it needs to be. But yeah, again, they hit that kick, scoop it, hit full extension, and then bring it in and up. And that's the momentum of that is what turns them into position. Love it. And then changing the hip angles, bending forward, coming back up for the hip hops, and then bending back down again. Again, the open hand, like, it really draws your attention down to the level of their hips, which is where we want to be focusing now because that's the most dramatic part of the movement. Lots of hip focus throughout the choreography. And an open hand is very attention drawing. See, this is another example right here of how she really makes sure to emphasize the beginning and end positions of each movement. Because it would be so easy to just rush through this and just turn and then come right down into the hip right here. But she takes that moment and gives just the tiniest pause in this position with the extended hip, with the look back, and with the hand here. And it hits so much harder because she doesn't rush through the movements. But like, see how it felt like she just floated for just a second right there before sinking back down into the hip. So letting like that up position be defined, and then that down position is extra defined because we defined the up position. And then I like the switching hand positions here with the dancers. So Yuna in the center being up, and then people right next to her going up as she comes down. And then the little flare of the hand coming through, just little motions, but it makes such a difference there. And then the sassy flirty queen, like the look away there as she was doing that, like she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. Oh, but yeah, super fun. And like I said, it's simpler than you're gonna see from a full group ITZY choreo because you cannot sing an entire song while doing a ITZY group level of intensity choreography. But I think this was perfect for the song. Even though it was simple, they used positions and they used like different shapes, different formations with the background dancers, and different ways of drawing your attention in different directions and towards her in the center to make it very impactful despite that. And then it goes perfectly with the song. Like I said, sassy, flirty, bouncy. Like, that's our girl. And then obviously very feminine choreo too, because she just absolutely nails that. And I think this is the first time, maybe Tangerine, but I think this is the first time that like Yuna's sung a whole song while also dancing the whole time. Because like if we remember at her first solo, at the first tour when she did her Maniac cover, like she had a lot of time on like the bike and stuff with the intro, so she wasn't dancing for that part. And then for Yet But, there's like the parts with the shopping cart, so she's not dancing during that part either. And then Tangerine was just like, it's a shortened solo, so it's only like 2 minutes long. So I think this is really the first time that she's had to sing and dance for an entire nearly 3 minute long song. So I'm sure she had to put in a lot of work, like with her stamina and with her singing technique, to be able to get this down and do it so well. And her energy never fades. Like I said, she's a performer at heart, and I'm so excited to watch the music show performances. I will definitely be tuning into those on my Patreon, so check out that link down below and in my bio if you want some more content. We got daily uploads over there. We've been getting lots of ITZY content lately, obviously with the That's a No-No performances and the concert performances too. We watched all of those solos and a lot of other group performances. Anything with a new choreo, we watched it over on Patreon. So definitely check those out if you want to see ITZY kill me, as always. And then make sure to subscribe for more. We've got some other ITZY reactions, choreographies, their whole tunnel vision comeback. So you can check all of those out in my ITZY reactions playlist. And then make sure to smash like and comment down below, and also subscribe because like I said, I'm going to learn this choreo. I'm going to cover it. So expect that sometime in the next month or two. But yeah, I'm excited to see what all of you guys think. So let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time.